amazing. Got this electric fire. It just reminds me of my grand's house. You knew it was a cold night if you put it up to 3 bars, then you were nice and toasty. And then you have this surround, which is quite sweet. You might want to keep features like that. What strikes me is the proportions here. These first 2 rooms, they're just great, they're roomy, and I'm hoping that carries on.
Yes, this was certainly a generously proportioned property. The bathroom in particular was huge. And although this property was considered a bungalow, it did have an upstairs with 3 bedrooms in the roof space. Add to that a decent-sized rear garden. Well, certainly there was loads of potential here. And with what was a 50 grand guide price, there was certainly a lot of interest in the auction room.
Where do you want to be with this? He's got £50,000 to open the bidding straight into at £50,000 on bid. 55 here.
This lot turned into a game of cat and mouse between 2 bidders, neither prepared to back down. We rejoined with the auctioneer just about to raise the hammer at £165,000.
£165,000 for the first time, paddle number 458. For the second time, for the third and final time, fair warning, hammer's up, he's back 170. At £170,000, 172, 174, 174, 176, 176, 178. No. At £176,000, gentleman's bid stood. We're out-seated at £176,000 for the first time, second time, third and final time. Fair warning. Sold. Well fought, both of you.
And the successful bid of 176 grand was made by Ian, Matthew and Ashraf. It was Ian with building contractor Martin who met me back at the house to explain their plans.
Hi there, Ian.
Yes.
Pleased to meet you, Ian.
Hi.
So,
Hiya.
Martin.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Congratulations on your purchase. So, walking along the road, lots of bungalows, residential. Is that your plans for here?
Actually not. We're going to be converting it into 4 flats, which will reconfigure the internal premises into 3 flats, and then we're looking to put a new build extension on the side along the driveway to create the 4th flat.
I did not see that coming at all. So this house is going to be 4 flats.
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be renting them out or selling them on?
They will be rented. They'll be tenanted by people with learning disabilities or physical disabilities, and they'll be given a very good high standard quality of accommodation to move into the community and move their lives forward.
So the company that Ian was a financial director for provides assisted living for over 100 people in the West Midlands, and this was their 10th development.
And what we tend to find is that the people that we do care for come with very little in terms of possessions. So to give and provide someone their own accommodation with their own bathroom, their own bedroom, lounge, kitchen, might not sound a lot to everybody, but for those people it is significant in terms of improving their livelihood and their lifestyle. So we tend to find that is really welcoming and rewarding.
They had a budget of £150,000 to £160,000 for the building work, and Martin had hoped that once his team had started, he would be delivering the completed project in 12 to 16 weeks.
Tell me a bit about your team and what it is you actually do. Do you get your sleeves rolled up yourself?
I do get my hands dirty, yeah, but I mean, my main role is project managing everybody, making sure they're all doing the right thing at the right time and getting, obviously, the completion date for these guys to move in and get it occupied.
And you'll have a bit of leeway with permitted development being able to extend.
Yes.
I'm guessing you'll need planning permission to do that.
We will be preparing a plan permission application to deal with all the needs of the extension.
Along with needing planning, they also needed to get a mining report to make sure the land was solid enough to build the extension. Once the flats were finished, ownership would transfer to a local housing association, with Ian's company retaining the contract to provide care for the residents.
And there's quite a lot of things you've got to tick off in terms of health and safety before you can get the go-ahead.
Yes, we work with a number of local housing associations, and we have their guidance on what they require moving forward when they have to provide their regulated housing provision. So we adopt their standards so that they're ultimately operating the housing when we sell it to them at completion.
Well, that was in October 2017, and when we went back 9 months later, it wasn't quite at that completion stage. So work was well underway, but things had been delayed at the very start of the process.
So we bought the property last year. We then ran the planning process firstly, rather than doing the concurrent stage with the mining and ground investigation, to make sure that the planners were happy with what we were doing. So then, after that process, we then started the ground investigation, mining surveys and the drilling.
Not doing the mining and soil investigation concurrently with planning did cost them time. It took 8 months to get through the processes, but at last they were into the construction stage of the 4 flats.
Flat 1 now is predominantly in the old building, with the kitchen and the kitchen dining room and bedroom on the front elevation. Flat 2 again is half and half of the existing building, and the kitchen lounge is on the rear in the new extension. Flat 3, which we're standing at the moment, which we call the penthouse, which has got the bedroom on the front, the bathroom, wet room to our right, and then behind of us is the lounge kitchen. And then flat 4 is the ground floor flat, all in the new extension.
In fact, only 2 walls remained of the old bungalow, and the flats were designed to cater for the specific needs of the residents.
Each flat has got the same basic layout, although some are slightly larger than others, which are a kitchen lounge, separate bedroom, a wet room, and some have got a lobby area.
At the rear, we're going to have a small patio area, which will then be graduated up with lawn, and a seating area at the back. And then at the front, that will provide 3 car parking spaces. It will be landscaped with some planters, just to keep things a bit green at the front as well.
There were also plans for a staff kitchen and cloakroom, but costs had risen significantly from their original 150 to 160 grand budget.
Extras that have come out of the drilling and the insurances and the whole process has probably cost us 70 to 80,000, and we've spent probably 40,000 more on the project itself. So we're getting on towards 280 to 300 by the time we'll have finished.
But despite that almost doubling of the budget, Ian was still confident it would all be worthwhile, and they just needed to get on with a list of jobs and finish it.
We'll get the roofs on. Once they're watertight, we then start first fix the M&E, which is mechanical and electrical. Then start plastering, then second fix, do all the carpentry work, then paint it, and then we do all the external works and hopefully hand it over on time.
Which is what we're looking forward to.
And the good news is the wait is now nearly over. You can see the end results later in the show.
I'm in Lancashire in the town of Burnley. Now, you know me, I do like the odd footy fact, so here's a couple for you. In 1921, Burnley FC's 30-match run without defeat remained the longest on record until Arsenal 82 years later. And in 1956, the FA Cup tie against Chelsea was one of the longest. Chelsea finally won 2-0 after 4 previous draws.
Can I kick it?
Yes, you can.
You can.
Yes, you can.
Can I kick it?
I'm just on the outskirts of Burnley city centre. I'm not too far away from the university, and we have got 2 train stations less than a mile away. Now, I know you can't see it, but the M65 is just over there. Now, the property I'm here to see is this. It's got 3 bedrooms and a guide price of £30,000 plus. And I've got to say, it's the first time presented on Homes Under the Hammer that I can say we've got an outside pool.
The water's getting can't swim because it's dirty, dirty water. Oh.
We're straight from the outside and straight into what I would say, an ample-sized living or lounge area. So really got a nice high ceiling. I can see there's a ceiling rose there as well. So a little bit of detail in here. Nip all the wallpaper off, get it redecorated, change the floor as well. Feels a little bit screw-whiff. You've got central heating. But you know what? I'd have liked a bigger window right there to let a bit more light in. But it's not a bad start. A lot of space to play with. Stairs going up to the bedrooms and then into the kitchen. And you know what? It does feel, I'm not going to say new, but it feels in good condition. And one of those kitchens I would say you'd possibly get away with keeping this if you're looking to rent it out. Wallpaper's coming off the walls already, so continue doing that, redecorating here. You may get away with keeping the floor as well. So you could save yourself a few quid, but I have spotted in and around the window frame there a little bit of mould. On most occasions, when you do see mould, it's because a property has been shut up, there's been no airflow at all for some time, therefore you do get a little bit of mould growing, but that doesn't worry me at all. I like these two rooms, and I like what I've seen so far.
Let's go upstairs and have a look. Oh, you've got everything I need.
Okay, so upstairs then. Right, let's do this half of upstairs first. 2 bedrooms and a smell of damp as well, but no signs of it yet. Okay, young person's bedroom, judging by the wallpaper. There's cars all over the wallpaper there. It's more of a single bedroom, and then another bedroom here. The damp smell has got a lot stronger, and that's why. There's your damp right there. This wall here, even before I touch it, it looks damp. You know what? It's been that damp in here. If you look closely down here, there's actually a little bit of fungi growing. So this, at some stage, has been absolutely sopping. It is a bit of a concern. That needs to be sorted out ASAP. Don't let it get any worse. And you know what? Thinking about it now... Right, OK. As I thought, this used to be 1 bedroom. They've actually made it into 2. I'm not a massive fan of that normally, but it seems to work the way they've done it. There isn't much room in here at the moment, but I would class myself as a fungi. I just had to get it in. Anyway, you need to find out if that mushroom is because of a leak. I'll stop the corny festival puns now. Let's move on. OK, on the other side upstairs, you've got the 3rd bedroom, which is a young person's bedroom again, but it's the bathroom I want to show you, which is in really good nick. You know, the tiles seem OK as well. This is one of those where you think to yourself, you might be able to keep this, but you might be fussy and you might want to put a new one in. It's your decision, but it doesn't look too bad to me. We invited along an agent from the auction house who sold the property to see what he thought of this house, guarded at 30 grand plus.
First impressions when I walked in, it does need a lick of paint, needs decorating throughout. Typically could do with a new kitchen, new bathroom, but other than that, the layout's good and doesn't need to be changed.
Oh well, the agent and I differ on the kitchen and bathroom situ. I think for rental these would be fine. So what would this fetch on the rental market?
Typically, a property in this area will rent between £350 and £375 per calendar month.
Well, what about resale? If the house was bought for anything like the guide price of 30 grand plus, and you put in a new kitchen and bathroom with redecoration throughout, what could it sell for?
Once the work has been completed, I'd estimate the property selling somewhere between £45,000 and £50,000.
So having had a good look around this property, the first thing I would want to do is investigate that damp upstairs. you'd possibly get away with keeping the bathroom. I'll possibly say the same about the kitchen as well. And then refurb through the whole of the property. Try and bring it back to its former glory of a lovely family home. Let's see who wanted it when he went under the hammer. Unfortunately, we missed the bidders for this lot, but we can catch up with the auctioneer just as bidding was coming to a close at £36,250.
Selling them for the first time at £36,250. Second time, third and final time, fair warning. It's yours, sir, very well done.
That successful bid of £36,250 belonged to Tariq. He runs a property business with his family all working with him. I met Tariq and daughter Rafia before when they bought a terrace also in Burnley. They have a simple business model. They pick up properties for a good price, do all the legwork and sell them as a package to investors. Tariq, it's good to see you again. Rafia, same to you.
Nice to see you.
You're still rolling on. Has the business model changed or is it going from strength to strength?
No, it's the same business model. It's family business. We acquire properties, we renovate them, we rent them out, and then we sell them to investors, mainly from London, but also from the rest of the world. And then we continue to manage and maintain them on their behalf as a long-term investment.
OK, is it going well?
At the moment, we've got 35 properties that are in heavy renovations.
Right now?
Right now, yes. So we've got various teams working on them. The other 30 are almost finished, pending handover, so there's altogether 65 properties.
So who's managing them? You've got 35 ongoing, or you've got 35 teams, or 35 jobs?
No, it's 35 ongoing, so
yes.
I've got a few different teams.
OK.
So I make the big decisions.
Rafia, do you oversee all of those decisions with all of those properties?
Yes, I myself go to each individual property and I contribute quite heavily towards the plan and the reporting, what's going to happen to this house. And then obviously all the guys, all the specialist guys go in and do their assessments, and then I hand it over to someone that this is what you need to do, and then I oversee it. And then once it's finished, I go back with my report and I check it. Has this been done? Has this been done? That's not been done. So, you know.
Oh, really? So you...
Yeah, tick it off. So, and then if something's not been done, then it needs to be done.
OK,
so
we'll do it.
Yeah.
So, what's on Rafia's checklist for this property?
We get our roofing team in, we get our plumbers, our electricians, we get everything assessed. I myself decide what happens internally and externally. Example, are we going to wallpaper, are we going to paint, are we going to sandblast, or are we going to just paint the front? And then we get everything together, I sign it off, and then yeah.
All ready to go?
All ready to go, that's right.
OK. If you're ready to go, what's the situation with this one then? Tell us what you're going to do.
This one, externally, we're going to be sandblasting the front and possibly the back, and we'll be doing a bit of rendering around the back, just to make it, neaten it up. And internally, we will be stripping everything, wallpaper, new flooring. The kitchen seems to be OK, so we'll just be upgrading that, just touching it up, fixing it up. Possibly a new bathroom upstairs. And then, yeah, just full decoration.
There's a little bit of mould on the walls, a little bit of damp upstairs as well,
yes.
In the corner of the rooms as well.
The first thing, the roofing team will go in, do their assessment, fix any tiles or are on the roof and also the chimney lead. And then we'll have to see if that has, sorted out the solution.
OK. And what kind of finish are we going in here? I can see there's the floors, hard floors down at the moment, which look OK. But are you going for carpet?
We're going to change it to carpet, and we're going to strip. We're going to do magnolia paint.
Nice.
And we'll probably do skirting boards and doors. We'll probably theme it. So
OK.
We'll probably do that grey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With a theme?
But have a bit of a theme going, yeah. So.
What's the theme going to be? What's the colour scheme and theme going to be in this one then?
This one, we're looking at magnolia and grey.
OK.
So it's worked quite well for us in the past.
OK. Is that why you leave...
I think
I get involved in the details.
Yeah.
Leave that to Rafia.
Leave that to her, yeah. I'll look at the financials.
Yeah, exactly. What are the financials?
So basically, this property, the bid price was 36,250. It's actually going to end up costing us just under £40,000 with all the costs. And then we budgeted with Rafia less than £10,000 spent on it. And we're looking to sell it as an investment package with everything included, around 55,000 ideally. It depends on the market at the time, but I think that should be possible.
OK, so trying to keep your budget below 10 grand?
Yeah, below 10 grand. I mean, our model is that we don't actually make a lot of profit from the buying and selling. Our profit comes from the long-term management and the fact that a lot of our investors actually come back and buy more properties because they get good value.
I guess with a business model like that, it's important to get them turned around quickly. So how long do they expect the work to take?
This one, once we start it, depending on the plumbing and the electrics, it will take between 6 to 8 weeks.
OK. So start to finish, all ready to go?
Yeah, start to finish, all ready to go.
Well, listen, good luck with this one.
Yeah.
Hope everything works out for you.
Thank you.
Terry, good luck.
Thanks very much indeed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Rafi, nice to see you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So Tariq and his family's property business seems to be going from strength to strength. But will this particular project be another valuable addition to their ever-growing empire? And will it be the only project with an outside pool? You can find out how they get on later in the programme.
Still to come in Lewisham, South London, I always think it's good to share.
It's so lovely, wouldn't it be nice to let everyone share and benefit from it?
Whilst in Burnley, Lancashire, we got to go backwards before going forwards.
It looked a lot worse than we got it originally, and then it got better.
We return now to the town of Tipton, and it was here back in the autumn of 2017 that I first saw a 3-bed detached former bungalow, which I have to say, I was quite taken by.
These first 2 rooms, they're just great, they're roomy, and I'm hoping that carries on.
And it did. But it was going to need a full refurb. It had loads of potential, set on a decent-sized plot, and as a bungalow, it was an increasingly rare beastie. So I was excited to know what Ian, on the left, and his building contractor, Martin, had planned for it, after they'd bought it at auction for £176,000. Was it destined to be a bigger and better modern bungalow for the 21st century?
Actually not. We're going to be converting it into 4 flats, which will reconfigure the internal premises into 3 flats, and then we're looking to put a new build extension on the side along the driveway to create the 4th flat.
So you'll be renting them out or selling them on?
They will be rented. They'll be tenanted by people with learning disabilities or physical disabilities.
And with a proposed budget of 160 grand and a build time of 16 weeks, it really was goodbye to the old and hello to the new. Well, at least that was the idea. But a combination of getting planning permission and needing a mining report to make sure the ground was suitable for adding the extensions they hoped for delayed the start of the actual building work by 8 months. So when we first returned to check on progress, Martin's building team had only just started. And the list of to-dos was still quite extensive.
We'll get the roofs on. Once they're watertight, we then start first fix the M&E, which is mechanical and electrical. Then start plastering. Then second fix, which is all the carpentry work. Then paint it, and then we do all the external works and hopefully hand it over on time.
But now, 3 months on, and a year after we first saw it, we're back. So have they now completed the build? Well, that's a resounding yes.
We've created 4 individual flats, most of them individual to cater for the needs of the people that are moving in here. They all consist of a shared kitchen and lounge area, bedroom and wet room. The attic one has a nice little open space on the landing, which we call the penthouse suite.
So 4 very similar but individual flats with extra wide door for wheelchair users and lovely communal garden spaces. Martin's team had a proposed build time of 16 weeks and they're practically spot on with that. So what happens next?
So now Martin's handed the property back to us. We'll be moving the tenants in over the next few weeks. At that point, then, we work in conjunction with the Housing Association, who will then look after all the housing needs for the individuals that will live here.
And the care package will be provided by Ian's company with staff on site 24 hours a day. So they have their own staff and cloakroom on site. And the first resident is due to move in a few days' time. I have to say, as much as I loved the bungalow, this is a so much better use of the building and the land it was on. But specialist buildings like this don't come cheap.
We bought the property for 176,000 at the auction. Our initial budget was 160,000. However, the mining and the extra professional fees, along with then the specialist foundations required, our budget from 160 soon increased to around about 270,000. With the extra professional fees as well related to that, overall we're just about at 500,000, maybe marginally over.
Ian's company has been involved in 9 other projects, but this has been the most complex and involved one to date, which perhaps makes it the most satisfying. But what do 2 local estate agents think of the end result? First, the agent who's seen this project through from start to finish.
The property has been extended, it's been refurbished, there's been walls moved, and it's completely changed it, and doesn't it look really, really good?
They're very spacious, very large, with all the parking at the front and the rear garden itself.
They've done it to a very high standard, and my opinion on it is that it's excellent. It really is. It's very, very good.
Ian thinks the final cost to create the 4 flats will be around £500,000, including the purchase price. So does that marry up with their market value?
The resale value of this property, based on the rental income that the property is going to be achieving, and over the period of time, say the next 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to be in excess of £500,000.
If this property was put onto the open market for an investor to purchase this property, I would put a valuation of excess of £500,000.
Near the mark. We've actually achieved just over 550,000. So we're happy with that valuation.
Yes, in fact, the whole building has been sold to a local housing association at a price agreed previously of that £550,000. So there will be a profit in it for Ian's company, plus, of course, the money they get from providing the care assistance. The Housing Association, in turn, rent out the flats to the local authority, and Martin and his build team earns the money from doing the building work. Perhaps most importantly, 4 people get the assisted accommodation they so desperately need. So this really is a win-win situation. So what's next for Ian and Martin?
Well, for me, I'm off to Spain for 10 days with the family.
And I'm nipping off to Tenerife for a long weekend for a golf break until we start the next one.
With the next project already lined up, it looks like these 2 are going to be busy for some time to come.
Situated around 8 miles from the centre of London is the borough of Lewisham. This area has long been popular with commuters, as you tend to get a bit more bang for your buck here. It can also boast of being the hometown of a certain Hollywood star, Gary Oldman. Yes, I bet he had many a finest hour while growing up here, and if anyone doesn't like the gag, I'll fight you on the beaches.
Well, Lewisham has been showing very positive price growth of late, so I'm certainly very interested in the property I'm here to see. It's this building here, separated out into 3 flats. Guide price £725,000. Oh.
The first positive is off-street parking. Let's head indoors and see what these 3 flats have to offer.
OK, let's start on the ground floor where you come into a studio flat, which basically means one room there that's going to be your bedroom stroke living room. You've got a bathroom down there, which looks like it's a reasonable size. And then this room is your kitchen. Now, you know, the rooms themselves are not bad, and you've got these really nice big windows, so they don't feel too claustrophobic. Large, high ceilings as well, which is good news. But that's it. A studio flat's go, though, not a bad start. Let's carry on. So, moving on, this is the second flat. It's on the first and the second floors, which is quite good. What's not good, though, is that's the bathroom, and there's a door out to the rear of the property. There, so basically your rear door, you come through the bathroom. Not ideal. I do like the sort of communal space. It's not really communal, is it? It's the stair bit, basically. This staircase is so beautifully elegant, and strip that back, it would be a real divil of a job, but it would be so worth it, and you could really make a statement with these stairs. It would be a shame not to, but you've got the kitchen area there, and then a really nice-sized sort of living room area here. Double windows, which is good. A bit of a fireplace you could have some fun with there. It's nice, and of course you've got the bonus of another floor. The upstairs floor of this bigger flat is a bit of a surprise, with 2 decent-sized bedrooms. The same can't be said of the loo, which is tiny. No shower room or room for a shower. It means you'd be reliant on the bathroom, with the door, very strange arrangement. But then it turns out there's a bonus up here. And then actually through to a third bedroom. Wow, three-bedroom flat. Nice to have. So does that mean that you could contemplate doing something with this property and creating perhaps another flat? Is there a way of getting an entrance up to this so this could become a self-contained flat? I'm not sure. Some nice cupboards here. You probably want to get rid of those, but... oh, look. There's the sink. Seeing that gives me a bit of a sinking feeling. After all, I haven't seen much wrong with these 2 flats, apart from a little layout problem on the first floor. There's been no damp, no cracks, and as we head down to the final flat, there's so much room in this basement. A good-sized bedroom, a good-sized reception room, and oh dear, another good old layout issue. What is it with this place? Bathroom leading outdoors? It's just plain weird, but suddenly my mind is turning to things other than the eccentric plumbing arrangements. So here's something you don't see in a lot of London properties, and that's a really decent-sized garden. So if you're doing some kind of renovation on these flats, one thing I would try and keep, if it works, I think, is this as a shared communal space. It's so lovely. Wouldn't it be nice to let everyone share and benefit from it? All in all, this looks like it would be a great investment for someone. But what did the local estate agent think when he took a look around these flats, which went to auction with a guide price of £725,000 plus?
The properties that I've seen today offer a lot of potential. I think if you can move rooms around within the properties just to help with the flow of space, that'd be great. But if you didn't, it wouldn't have the worst effect on the selling price and or rental price.
Let's go into those sales and rental figures then. How much could the new owner expect for the 1-bedroom basement?
I think assuming the basement was done to a good standard internally, it'd sell for somewhere around £300,000. And the rental value would be around £1,100 per calendar month.
And if we move on up to the ground floor studio, how much could that achieve on the rental and sales market?
I thought once the ground floor studio flat has been internally revamped, it'd be worth around £260,000. I thought the ground floor studio flat would rent for a figure around £900 per calendar month.
And taking it on up to the top, what could the 3-bed flat go for?
I thought the 3-bedroom flat would be worth around £475,000. I thought the 3-bedroom flat would rent for a figure around £1,600 per calendar month.
This property had a guide price of £725,000 plus and a potential end value of over £1 million. So what do you think?
Well, as investment opportunities go, I think this Lewisham property has a lot going for it. Let's see who agreed when it went under the hammer.
270.
Unfortunately, our cameras weren't able to catch the bidding for this lot, but I can tell you it was bought for £765,000 by Anna, who works in investment banking. And if you think, she looks familiar, well, she is.
Here we go again. She's back in town again.
Last time we met Anna, she had bought a property in East 17, and now we've caught her for a second investment. I wanted to find out more.
Anna, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you've been on Homes Under the Hammer before? We filmed your first experience.
Yes, I've been on the show before.
With Martel. So after that experience, how long was it before you sort of ventured into this one?
So I've sold the property on Monday, and on Tuesday I bought this one.
No!
Yes.
Oh, right, hanging around then.
Yes.
Tell me why you wanted to buy it.
I always thought that having a property like this would be amazing. If you put this in central London, it would cost much more.
What tempted you into property developing at the moment? What was it?
To be honest, I've always been interested in properties. I ended up doing it by chance. I started doing some small apartments for the company I work for, and then I just realized that I'm actually quite good at it.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
So what is the plan for this building then?
So when I bought it, I thought I could potentially do another story in the back, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that. So I'm currently speaking to my architect, and we are exploring the options.
Okay.
In case I won't be able to do that, I'll just maybe extend the lower ground floor.
Okay.
In the back, and maybe make some terraces even on ground floor, and maybe potentially even on first floor.
Oh, wow.
On top of the story. Yeah.
But basically have it as full flats?
Potentially, yes. But if I can't convert the first and second floor, because at the moment it's one flat, I will just leave it as it is and I'll just refurbish it.
Okay, so that would be 3 flats then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Numbers-wise, does that full flat make a big difference, I imagine?
Yes and no, because
Extra
the
cost.
second floor, so you need planning permission, so that means extra 2 months. Plus, I'm not sure if it's big enough,
Right.
so it probably would be only a studio flat.
Okay. A few things then. Obviously, you've got this strange situation with the door coming into the bathroom.
Yes.
What are you going to do about that?
I'm not sure, because that door leads into the garden. So I might do a kitchen there and maybe do a corridor through the kitchen and then create a living space in the front.
And then there's also kind of the same situation with the basement toilet, isn't there?
Yes.
What are you going to do about that one?
That one, it's going to be transformed into a bedroom.
Okay.
So I want to make 2 bedrooms in the back, which leads to the garden.
With grand plans to turn these 3 flats into 4 flats, has Anna done her research on prices in the area?
I've done my own research. I had a look around the area. This street, maybe the prices are not that great, but I had a similar thing given the property that I've done up previously. I think it will do really well.
In your ideal world, what kind of profit is in this?
Do I really need to tell you that?
Well, there's no guarantee you're going to get it, so what would be fantastic?
Between 200 and 300,000.
Great.
If Anna can achieve that figure, she could be in for a great profit for her investment. First, though, she'll have to stick within her £150,000 to £200,000 budget and then try to keep to her 4 to 6 month timescale. She will have a team of builders on board to help her, but it will all depend on the market at the time, on whether she rents or sells the flats when they're done up. So, now with one property under her belt and this one to go, what's her goal for the future?
I want to do this full time.
Yeah?
Yeah. At the moment, I have a full-time job and it's really hard.
What's the hardest thing, just managing it, or...?
It's very hard because I live quite far and you need to be here all the time. I had the experience of the last property. Everything was fine. It's just sometimes there's misunderstanding, you know, what you actually request and what you get. So I think it's very important to be on site.
Would you actually get your hands dirty? Would you?
I already did, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing?
I'm very good at refurbishing, for example, fireplaces and old furniture.
Oh, great.
So I've repainted a lot of things, yeah.
Oh, great, so you can give it a bit of your own sparkle on it.
Yes, of course.
Well, listen, congratulations. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing how you get on. Well, I think Anna has chosen well with this property in Lewisham. Certainly the potential for a big profit on this one. Will she get that 4th flat? Will it all go to plan? You can find out later in the show. Well, we found out how one story turned out.
But I can hear you asking, how did the other two get on?
Let's find out. Time to return to Burnley, the California of the Northwest, everybody calls it. What, you don't believe me? Well, check this out. It's the first time presented on Homes Under the Hammer that I can say we've got an outside pool. So maybe you couldn't have a Beverly Hills-style pool party, but this 3-bed terrace with a guide of 30 grand plus did have a lot going for it. With a good-sized lounge area and a fairly new kitchen that wouldn't take too much to sort. However, upstairs, water had caught my attention yet again, but this time, it was nothing to party about. You know what? It's been that damp in here. If you look closely down here, there's actually a little bit of fungi growing. Well, I like a bit of prefab sprout, but I'm not sure about a stone house sprouting. That's just not for me. Trying to turn a profit on this troubled terrace was Tariq and his daughter Rafia, who paid £36,250 at auction. They'd worked on over 60 properties and had quite an unusual business model.
We acquire properties, we renovate them, we rent them out, and then we sell them to investors. Our model is that we don't actually make a lot of profit from the buying and selling. Our profit comes from the long-term management and the fact that a lot of our investors actually come back and buy more properties.
He's going the distance.
Yes, it's a marathon, not a sprint for the business model of this father and daughter team. But could they keep to their budget of under 10 grand and stick to their 6 to 8 week timescale? Just under 5 months later, and we've returned to find out. Well, I think the change is pretty obvious. Before we've even got inside, you can see Tariq and Rafia have cleaned and repaired the stonework on the outside of the property, as well as repainting and repairing all the guttering. Inside, the whole building has been re-skimmed, re-carpeted and given a fresh, bright coat of paint. In the bathroom, Tariq and Rafia have used panelling on the walls. It's very durable for a house that's intended to be on the rental market. However, it's not just the things you can see that have changed.
So we did do a part rewire on the electrics in this house, and of course we had our own internal electrician to do all of that, who was completely compliant. One of the other things that we had to do was change the boiler and sort out a few of the plumbing issues, and again we've got a certified gas engineer working for us.
I think it's a mark of Tariq and Rafia's professionalism that they make sure these things are done properly. Unfortunately for them, there are more hidden problems than they'd bargained for.
We had penetrative damp behind on this wall over here where the boiler is. So the gutter wasn't aligned properly and the water was coming in and causing penetration. Because it was quite extensive, we had to hack off the plaster and treat the damp there and replaster. We had rising damp on this internal wall here, and we also had this on this party wall, which is adjacent next door's property. So we tanked that entire wall, whereas the internal wall, we just injected it because we didn't need to follow the procedure of notifying anyone in accordance with the Portable Act.
Tanking a wall is when a physical or chemical membrane is applied to the whole of the wall to protect it from damp. It doesn't require access to both sides of the wall, unlike injection treatment. So Tariq and Rafia wouldn't need to disturb the neighbour's property. However, it's still an awful messy job.
The property looked a lot worse after we'd spent a week or two in it, because all the plaster was off. You could see the brick. You know, it looked a lot worse than we got it originally, and then it got better.
It just goes to show even the most experienced developers can get caught out with unwelcome surprises. That extra work meant the renovation took about 10 weeks, a little over their initial 6 to 8 week timescale. But how did it affect the 10 grand budget?
Our original budget was about £10,000. In the end, we ended up actually spending about almost £13,000.
Well, with the purchase price and the spend now coming in at £49,250, they are very near that 55 grand investment package figure they were hoping to achieve. We asked 2 local agents to take a look and give us their opinion.
I think the layout works really well for a young family or a couple. The bedrooms are all quite well proportioned, with the bathroom at the back, I think works extremely well.
The major selling point is it doesn't need any more work doing to it, so for a first-time buyer, all they have to do is raise the deposit and they can move straight in.
And what would the property be worth if it were to be sold on the open market?
If this property was to be placed on the open market, I would expect for the owner to achieve in the region of about £55,000.
If this property were to go on the open market to either an investor or a first-time buyer, we'd expect to achieve about £50,000.
I think we think the valuation is a bit low. I mean, we would have expected maybe a bit higher, but it's still okay. It's still within our model.
With a total spend of £49,250, that top valuation would give Tariq and Rafia's business a profit of just under 6 grand. So, having renovated over 60 properties, this father and daughter team must know everything there is to know about developing. Surely.
Oh no, you never know it all. There's always more to learn. There's always more to experience. It's you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's interesting.
You're learning all the time. Yeah, that's right.
We head back now to South London and the borough of Lewisham. Popular with commuters thanks to its proximity to the city centre, properties in Lewisham are always in demand. With this in mind, I looked around this sizable property that had been split into 3 flats. A studio flat on the lower ground floor, a 1-bedroom flat on the ground floor, and a 3-bedroom on the first and second floors. It was tired and had a bizarre layout in places, but it had a relatively attractive guide price of £725,000 plus, as well as a bonus out the back.
So here's something you don't see in a lot of London properties, and that's a really decent-sized garden. So if you're doing some kind of renovation on these flats, one thing I would try and keep, if it works, I think, is this as a shared communal space. It's so lovely. Wouldn't it be nice to let everyone share and benefit from it?
Yes, there are a few layout issues, but this property had bags of potential, which wasn't lost on Anna, an investment banker who bought the property for £765,000 on auction day. This was only Anna's second development project and was a big step up from her first. However, if she had any nerves, it didn't show.
So when I bought it, I thought I could potentially do another story in the back, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that. So I'm currently speaking to my architect, and we are exploring the options.
Okay.
So, with aspirations to add another flat, Anna had a budget of £150,000 to £200,000 and a timescale of 4 to 6 months to turn this tired and dated property into chic and modern apartments, ideal for the demanding market. Well, it's now 7 months later, and we've returned to Lewisham hoping for big things.
We've only just begun to live. We've only just begun. We've only just begun.
Now, this is looking pretty far from complete, but at least work has begun. Perhaps we should get an update from Anna.
When I purchased the house, my plan was to do 4 flats in here. Unfortunately, the planning didn't go as planned, and I had some delays, and I don't think the planners were very happy with the 4 flats. And that's why I have decided to keep it as a 3 flats and just change the layouts.
Yes, thanks to planning issues, the work here has been delayed by 6 months. However, after some toing and froing between Anna, her architect and the planners, plans have now been passed. Just so we're clear, starting at the top, there's going to be a split-level duplex, 1-bedroomed apartment on this top floor. Then on the first floor, there's a 1-bedroomed apartment with access to their own section of garden. And the ground floor and basement will be a 2-bed maisonette, also with its own piece of garden to enjoy. Got that? Phew. It really does just go to show.
I am very happy I took a bigger project. It's definitely more challenging, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. We have just started about 3 weeks ago. We finished clearing out and the demolition phase, and we are at the construction phase at the moment.
So it's full steam ahead. But with the timescale out the window, how's her original budget of £150,000 to £200,000 looking?
I think the budget that I set up was so unrealistic. The budget would probably be around between 260 and 280.
OK, assuming Anna sticks to the new top budget figure of £280,000, add that to her £765,000 purchase price, and this project will come in at around £1,045,000. A pretty substantial number. Anna is unsure whether she will sell or rent the flats. It's an opportune moment to get the thoughts of 2 local estate agents, starting with the one who saw it originally.
I think the new layouts that the owner's going for are fantastic. You know, when you're looking at the private area downstairs on the ground floor flat and lower ground floor flat, I think that's great, giving them some private outside space. Up here in the dormer, which is looking like it will be a double-heighted room, it's nice, it's imposing.
I think the main selling point is the size of the property, and given the fact that the first 2 flats have access to the garden, and the top flat we have an open plan, which we have access to views and everything. I think that is a very good plan.
The new plans are a hit, but asking the gentlemen to use their imagination a little, what could the 3 flats sell for once complete?
When assessing the value for the lower ground floor flat, I believe that would have a resale value of around